Hello, everyone. This is feedback for the training or not exercise. This exercise, you were to use a Mager and Pipe flowchart and apply it to a situation with Sam, who is a manager, and his people put together boards that have wires. And the wiring has been wrong, leading to a high reject rate, and now Sam's job is in jeopardy. So we're going to apply this Mager and Pipe flowchart. The first part is to describe the performance problem. So how did you do that? So to me, it seems quality is decreased. The manager, Sam, is under scrutiny. He could lose his job. And we need to improve the quality of the wiring so that the reject rate is reduced to acceptable levels. We don't know why we have the problem. We just know that we have a problem. So whenever you have a problem, the next thing you have to do is find out, is the problem important? Well, it is, because Sam could lose his job. And the reject rate is high, which means there's a high cost to the company. Sam losing his job may not be as important to the company, but it is to Sam. So as a consultant, we would need to pay as much attention to his concern about that as we do to the problem with the company. They're different, but they're intertwined. So the cost is high, and we need to do something about it. The next question we look at is that, because it is important, is it a skill deficiency? And I want you to really think carefully about this. A true skill deficiency means that you couldn't ever do it. So even if I taught you to do something a long time ago, and you're not doing it now, it's unlikely that that would be a skill deficiency, because even if there was a lag in time, and you, like riding a bike, let's say, if you rode a bike in the past and it's been 10 years, you're still going to be able to ride that bike. You may be rusty at it, and you may need to remember things. Recently, I borrowed a friend's car, and it was a stick shift. I hadn't driven a stick shift in 15 years, but I could still do it. I had to think about a few things, like what do I do when I park on a hill, but I could still do it. So it's not a skill deficiency, because they can do it. And the other reason we know it's not a skill deficiency is because they do it right sometimes. If they were doing it wrong every time, you might look at skill deficiency, but I still don't know that you would, because they could do it. So the next question you would say then, if it's not a skill deficiency, is it a knowledge deficiency? Well, I don't know, and I know that Mager and Pipe go to the next one would be used to do it if you said it's a skill deficiency. But unless something had changed about it, I don't know how it could be a knowledge deficiency. We don't just forget what we used to know. So it's unlikely, but I would ask some questions, and I would make sure that it wasn't. And the same with the skill deficiency. If, for let's say, the welding torches had changed, or whatever they used, soldering irons, and there was a new kind and they didn't get training in it, then maybe it would be a skill deficiency and they would need to learn to use it. Same thing with knowledge, if somehow something had changed. But given that nothing changed here, it's not going to be a skill or a knowledge deficiency. Something else has to be going on. So if you don't learn anything else in this course, I want you to always think that when something used to go okay, it is rarely that the performer simply isn't doing it right because he or she forgot how. It's almost always something else going on. Something has changed in the environment. It could be that they get negative feedback and so they don't care anymore. It could be that things have moved around and they can't find them. It could be that there is a new system in place, but they weren't trained on it. And that would be a skill deficiency of sorts, but it wouldn't be because they just didn't want to do it and they forgot how and they need training on how to do it. You need to find out what that change was. So I'm going to say that this is not a knowledge deficiency because they say nothing is different. They could do it before. They probably didn't forget how. So what else changed? That leads us to this column here where we have, is the performance punishing? Is non-performance rewarding? Does performance matter? And are there any obstacles? Well, we can't actually know from what we have here. Can we? I can't tell. And that would be the second thing, that if there's anything that you learn in this class, the second one would be never assume you know, and never say, oh, I know what's going on, until after you've done the complete analysis and you find the root cause. You will be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be right, but you will be wrong at least as often as you're right, and you will do the wrong things. You never want to say, I know what's going on, until you've done everything. So you just wait. If you have some ideas, keep them to yourself. Don't think about them, and then find out what's really going on. So what is it? We don't know. All we could say is what our next steps would be. Well, for me, my next steps would be to go in and watch what's happening. I would want to see them actually do the soldering. I would want to see the setup of how things are set up and what they do. I would want to interview a few people maybe and say, what's going on? Do you have any ideas? Often the employees know what is wrong if you just ask them. Rarely do you have employees who just simply don't want to do the work and are just screw ups. It happens, but it's rare. It's maybe, 4 or 5% of the time. It's unbelievably uncommon. When people aren't doing their job, something in the system is preventing them. Knowledge is part of that. Maybe they might need training, at least some training, even up to 60 or 70 or 80% of the time. But that's in conjunction with something else. Training is almost never the only answer unless it's something absolutely new to them. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to go back and look at your assignment again and redo it, you may. If not, I will grade it as it is. Hope you guys have a good week. Bye.